There comes a season in life when nothing around you seems to move, yet everything within you is changing. This is the chapter many misunderstand, the quiet becoming. It is not marked by applause or visible victories, but by unseen strength taking root deep in the soul. In this stillness, you are not being forgotten, you are being formed. At first, the silence feels heavy, questions echo louder than answers, and waiting tests your faith more than action ever could. You may wonder why doors remain closed or why progress feels slow, but what you cannot yet see is that restraint is often protection, and delay is sometimes divine alignment. What arrives too early can break us. What arrives at the right time builds us. In this chapter, you learn discernment. You stop explaining yourself to everyone and begin listening more closely to your inner voice. You discover that not every battle needs your reaction, and not every opinion deserves your energy. Strength reveals itself not in noise, but in restraint. Peace becomes your quiet rebellion against chaos. Growth here is subtle. It shows up as patience where anger once lived, wisdom where fear once ruled, and faith where doubt tried to settle. You begin to trust the process even when you don't understand the plan. You realize that roots grow best in darkness and foundations are laid where no one is watching. This chapter is preparing you for visibility, for responsibility, for purpose. What is being built in you now will sustain you later. So do not rush this season. Honor it. Embrace the silence. One day, when the world finally sees the fruit, they will call it sudden, but you will know it was years in the making. And when you turn the page, you will step forward not as who you were, but as who you were quietly becoming all along. There is a chapter in every life that feels like standing still while the world keeps moving. Days pass, seasons change, yet your situation seems unchanged. This is the chapter where many grow weary, where patience is tested and faith is refined. But this is also the chapter where true strength is born, not in noise or recognition, but in silence. At first, the quiet feels uncomfortable. You replay old conversations, question past decisions, and wonder if your efforts have been in vain. You pray, yet answers seem delayed. You work, yet progress appears invisible. What you don't realize is that silence is not absence, it is preparation. God often works most deeply when He works most quietly. In this season, you are being taught endurance. You learn how to stand without applause, how to keep going without reassurance, and how to trust even when clarity is missing. This chapter strips away the need for constant validation and replaces it with inner conviction. You begin to understand that approval from the world is temporary, but alignment with purpose is eternal. You also learn the power of boundaries. You stop chasing people who only value you when you are useful. You stop explaining your pain to those who listen only out of curiosity. Instead, you protect your peace and invest your energy where it can grow. This wisdom is not learned quickly. It is earned through disappointment, reflection, and prayer. Slowly, almost imperceptibly, transformation begins. What once triggered you no longer controls you. What once broke you now teaches you. Your reactions soften, your perspective widens, and your faith deepens. You realize that healing does not always announce itself. It happens quietly, one choice at a time. This chapter is not meant to last forever, but it is meant to shape you forever. When the doors finally open and your season shifts, you will carry a strength that cannot be shaken because it was forged when no one was watching. And as you step forward, you will know with certainty, the silence did not delay your destiny. it prepared you for it. There is a moment in life when you realize that the old version of you can no longer survive the future you are being called into. This chapter begins quietly, without warning, in the middle of ordinary days. Nothing dramatic happens on the surface, yet deep within, something starts to shift. You feel it in your thoughts, in your prayers, in the way your heart responds to the world. This is the season of separation, not from people alone, but from habits, mindsets, and fears that once felt familiar. You begin to notice that what used to satisfy you no longer brings peace. Conversations feel shallow, distractions feel empty, and rushing feels exhausting. It is not because you are becoming distant, it is because you are becoming deeper. In this chapter, patience becomes your greatest teacher. You learn that not everything must happen immediately, and not every answer arrives when you demand it. Waiting humbles you, but it also strengthens you. It teaches you to trust the process even when the outcome is unclear. You begin to understand that delay is not denial, it is refinement. Pain also speaks in this season. Old wounds resurface, not to harm you, but to be healed properly. You face truths you once avoided and accept lessons you once resisted. Tears fall, prayers become quieter, and faith becomes more personal. You stop performing belief and start living it. What once lived only in words now takes root in action. Gradually, your perspective changes. You no longer measure success by speed, approval, or applause. You measure it by peace, growth, and alignment. You learn to walk away without bitterness, to forgive without reconciliation, and to love without losing yourself. Strength, you discover, is not hardness, it is clarity. This chapter prepares you for what is next. It builds a foundation strong enough to carry responsibility, purpose, and blessing. When the season finally changes, people may think you are lucky or suddenly favored. They will not see the nights of doubt, the discipline of waiting, or the courage it took to keep going. But you will know, and as you turn the page, you step forward wiser, steadier, and ready, no longer chasing life, but prepared to receive it. There comes a season in life when noise loses its power over you, not because the world becomes quieter, but because your spirit learns where to stand. In this chapter, growth does not announce itself. It happens quietly, beneath the surface, like roots stretching deeper into the soil long before a tree dares to rise above ground. Silence teaches what constant movement never could. In stillness, you begin to hear the truth about yourself, about others, about God's timing. You learn that not every battle requires a response, and not every misunderstanding needs correction. Some victories are won by restraint, patience, and trust. This is where character is refined, when no one is clapping, when recognition is absent, and when progress feels invisible. Something sacred is taking place. You are being shaped for endurance. Faith matures here, not through excitement, but through consistency. Day after day, you choose to keep going, even when the path feels lonely. There will be moments when doubt whispers that your silence means weakness, but silence, when chosen wisely, is strength under control. It is the ability to wait without resentment, to believe without proof, and to move forward without applause. Those who rush often burn out. Those who endure quietly are built to last. In this chapter, you also learn discernment. Not everyone deserves access to your heart or your story. Some people only want to witness your fall, not your rise. Silence becomes a shield, protecting what God is growing within you. What is meant to last does not need constant explanation. Pain, too, plays its role here. not to destroy you, but to deepen you. Each disappointment teaches humility, each delay builds patience, and each unanswered prayer strengthens trust. You begin to understand that God is not punishing you, He is preparing you. When the time comes for your next season, it will arrive naturally, without force. Doors will open that no effort could unlock. The strength you gained in silence will allow you to walk through them with wisdom and grace. This chapter may feel quiet, but it is not empty. It is full of becoming. And one day, when your life speaks louder than your words ever could, you will understand that silence was never your setback. It was your foundation. There is a sacred tension in waiting, one that stretches the heart and tests the soul. This chapter begins in that space where prayers have been spoken, effort has been given, yet the answer has not arrived. Waiting feels uncomfortable because it removes control, but it is also where faith learns to breathe. In waiting, you confront your true motivations. Do you trust God only when outcomes are immediate, or do you trust Him even when silence follows your prayers? This chapter teaches that delay is not denial. Often it is divine alignment, placing pieces together beyond what your eyes can see. Waiting slows you down enough to notice what rushing would destroy. You begin to recognize patterns, lessons, and quiet instructions that were always there, but drowned out by impatience. God often speaks softly, and only the still are able to hear Him clearly. This season humbles you. It reminds you that strength is not found in forcing doors open, but in having the wisdom to stand still when told to wait. Pride fades here, replaced by dependence. You learn that your life is not a solo journey. It is guided, guarded, and purposefully timed. There will be days when waiting feels like loss. Dreams feel distant, hope feels fragile, and comparison becomes tempting. But comparison is the thief of peace, and peace is the gift waiting gives to those who remain faithful. What is meant for you will not require you to race someone else to receive it. In this chapter, waiting transforms into worship. Every quiet prayer, every moment of endurance, every decision to trust instead of complain becomes an offering. You are no longer waiting for God. You are walking with Him. And then, almost unexpectedly, movement begins. Not rushed, not chaotic, just right. When the answer comes, you realize you are not being held back. You are being built up, strong enough to carry what you once begged for, wise enough to steward what you once desired. Waiting did not weaken you, it refined you. And when this chapter ends, you step forward not just with blessings, but with depth, peace, and unshakable faith. As this journey comes to a close, one truth stands firm. Nothing you endured was wasted. Every silent season, every unanswered prayer, every moment of waiting carried purpose. What once felt heavy was shaping strength. What felt confusing was teaching discernment. What felt like delay was divine preparation. You now understand that growth is not always loud or visible. The most meaningful transformation happens within, where faith is tested, character is formed, and trust is deepened. You learn to stand when it would have been easier to quit, to remain kind when bitterness tempted you, and to believe when evidence was scarce. That alone speaks of how far you have come. Looking back, you see that God was present even when He felt distant. He was working in ways you could not perceive, aligning moments, protecting you from paths that would have harmed you, and strengthening you for what lies ahead. The doors that remained closed were acts of mercy, not rejection. The ones opening now are opening because you are ready. This ending is not an end, but a transition. You step forward with clearer vision, quieter confidence, and a heart anchored in faith rather than fear. You no longer chase validation or rush the process. You trust the timing. You trust the journey. Most importantly, you trust who you are becoming. Let this conclusion remind you that resilience was born in hardship, wisdom was gained in stillness, and hope survived because you chose not to give up. Whatever comes next, you are prepared, not because life will be easy, but because you are strong, grounded, and guided. Carry these lessons with humility, walk forward with courage, and remember, the same God who brought you through will lead you onward. Your story is still unfolding, and the best chapters are yet to be written.